And one night I went home and I went to buy something on Amazon and I saw that they had these star ratings and things on their product pages. And I just thought to myself, why isn't somebody else offering something like this for other websites so that they can compete against Amazon? So that's where the light bulbs went off and I'm like, I could do that. And that's really what I saw. Like I realized, I'm like, hey, nobody else has what Amazon's doing. And they just seem to be so far ahead of the curve and nobody was recognizing it. Nobody was noticing what they were doing. And I could see it, right? And I just knew that there was opportunity there.
Scott Brandley, welcome to the show, my man. I am so excited to have this conversation with you. It's been weeks since we've been talking about this and having you on the show and talking about entrepreneurship, leadership, but also more important, talking about how can we get more reviews for our businesses? How can we get better reviews? I can't wait to unleash your story for where you started and where you're going and the opportunities that are happening to you today, and also talking about your competition. So that being said, man, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's exciting to be here.
Absolutely, man. Well, I want you to take us back in time, man. For the people that are listening to the show, today we're talking about how can we get better reviews and basically monetize on our reviews to get more conversions on our website, branding, many other places. But before we talk about that, I want you to take us to your journey as an entrepreneur. You had a lot of different adventures in building businesses and different kinds of businesses. And this was a opportunity where you found a problem, you solved it, and you made something out of it. And I want to hear that story.
Sure. So this started back in 2008, so a long time ago. I've actually been doing stuff on the internet since 1997. That was like Wild West days. But anyway, so 2008, we're going along. We have a website security company at the time called TrustGuard, and that was doing really well. And one night I went home and I went to buy something on Amazon. And I saw that they had these star ratings and things on their product pages. And I just thought to myself, why isn't somebody else offering something like this for other websites so that they can compete against Amazon? So that's where the light bulbs went off. And I'm like, I could do that. So that night I stayed up and I wrote notes and things. And I was so excited to go and pitch it to my team the next day. So I get everyone together, and my dad was my business partner at the time. So we all get together in a room and I pitch him on this rating and review software idea. That's going to be the next big thing, right? And it was like crickets. Nobody was excited about the idea. I totally got shot down. And so I actually just shelved it for a year. And meanwhile, our website security company was growing, and my dad and I we were equal business partners, and so we were like butting heads constantly because I had a different vision for the way I wanted that company to go. And so I got to the point where we were like fighting openly in front of our staff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I just, it just like didn't feel good. And I love my dad. And so I ended up having him come and meet with me in my car because I didn't want anybody to hear the conversation. So
Having a one-on-one with father in
my car in the parking lot, I just had it out with him. I'm like, Dad, I love you, but like we can't keep doing this, right? So I need my own project. And he's like, okay, I will let you build your rating and review thing, but I get full control of TrustGuard, the website security company. And so that day I walked away from TrustGuard and I started Shopper Approved. So,
wow.
and that was in 2009. And I had one programmer and then me and one other guy. And he eventually became my business partner on Shopper Approved. And we grew Shopper Proof together. I've since bought him out. So now and my dad, I bought my dad out too. So I'm the sole owner of Shopper Proof. But yeah, so we officially launched it in 2010. Just me, Garrett, and a programmer. And then we just built it organically over time.
Okay.
And that's kind of how it started.
Got you. And what you when you went on Amazon, what inspired you when you saw there's a problem that you could solve? Take
Mhm.
me there. Like take me more into I could do this much better than what I see online. What inspired you? How did that inspire you?
Well, I mean, back then, I mean, ratings and reviews were rare, right? We're talking 2008. There were only maybe two or three review companies total that existed at the time. And so, yeah, it was like you would go to any other website online and there just wouldn't be any reviews whatsoever. And that's really what I saw. Like I realized I'm like, hey, nobody else has what Amazon's doing. And they just seem to be so far ahead of the curve and nobody was recognizing it. Nobody was noticing what they were doing. And I could see it, right? And I just knew that there was opportunity there.
Okay, got you. And how did you solve the problem?
So basically what we did is we created software that asked two surveys. So the way and we still do it this way today. So right after somebody makes a purchase, they get an initial survey right after they buy. And that survey is really like their shopping experience up to that point, right?
That's the moment they buy.
Right after they buy.
Transaction, whatever, and it doesn't matter what kind of business, it can any business, whatever,
Mhm.
service, product, the moment you transact, they get a trigger, a review to put
Yep.
something in. Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
And usually it's like a little pop-up that just says, hey, leave us a quick review about your experience so far. Now, that information isn't super valuable on its surface, but what it does is if there's any types of problems with the transaction, it gives the store owner instant feedback. So say like there's a problem with PayPal or like something on the checkout isn't working properly, they can get that instant notification and they can fix it. So that's one thing. The other thing that's really important on an initial survey is buyer intent, right? Why did you buy this product from this company? Because people want to know why other people bought something, right? And you don't
Okay.
have to wait for them to get the product to know that. They already know why they went there to buy it. So why don't we just collect that information? Well, right there, well, we got them on the site. Just collect that information and then put that on the front end for other people to see.
That
Because
is such a slick, beautiful way to, before getting a case study or testimonial, to get a case study and testimonial.
right, exactly. Yep.
That's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
That
So
is so beautiful. Go on.
So we can collect, so we collect buyer intent, we collect that initial survey, and then you can also ask private questions. So if you want to know where they came from, or I mean, the business can ask any type of questions they want on that survey, and they can make them public or private.
Mm.
If they make them public, then we post them on our shopper approved certificate for that company, so other consumers can see it. And if it's private, then they can just use it for internal feedback. So we collect that initial survey. And then once they get their product, then we send a full survey. And that survey has more questions in it. So it's, were you satisfied with the product overall? How was the shipping? How satisfied were you with the shipping? How satisfied were you with customer service? Did you contact customer service? Things like that. So and then we take all of that information and we put it public facing on their certificate page. So when other consumers go to buy, they can look at what other customers have answered to those questions and they can make a better buying decision.
That is amazing. Now, my question to you is, how, when you do this process of people spending the time, because one of the most, like, time is really, really important. How do we make the end user or the buyer, if it's a service or product, to make time to write a review, or write a before review or an after review, and spend the time to do that? Because I was like, I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm gonna do it later on. So how do we persuade them?
Right. Nice. So a really cool story is when we first built out the software back in 2010, we were trying to figure out how to engage people to leave reviews, right? And we had this initial survey that would pop up right after they bought, but the completion rate was really low. And so we tried different things. Like we put this really pretty girl, like a video. I don't remember if you remember, they used to make these videos that were transparent and you could like stick it on your website and somebody would talk to you.
Yes.
So we did that, and it was this really attractive lady, and she asked people to leave a review, and that bombed, right? And we tried some other different things. We changed up some wording. Nothing really worked until we only asked one question, and then as soon as and all it was how would you rate your experience so far? And it just had the star rating. That was it. And the second they clicked the star rating, it dropped another question. And so what we found was micro commitments were extremely effective at getting people to leave reviews.
Progress.
Yeah. So then and it was so effective, we were converting people after they bought to take that initial survey at 42%.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Huge.
So, and it's just micro commitments, because once somebody makes a tiny commitment, now they're invested, right? So Dr. Cialdini, in his book Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, he calls it commitment and consistency. Once you make even the tiniest commitment, now as a person, you have to be consistent to the commitment that you've made, right? And so people, once they just even make the smallest commitment, then they want to complete the loop. And so they'll finish the survey. And then what you do, so once they've finished that initial survey, you tell them, hey, make sure you complete the full survey. So now you give them another open loop, and they want to complete that survey. So when they get it, now they can have that closure. So
Okay.
those are just a couple things that we do, and it's all completely ethical. I mean, that's just the way people work, right? People like to have closure. They like to finish things, and micro commitments just help them to do that.
Okay. I love the macro commitment. It's like you fill out any kind of form, and if the form is long and they could see the whole form, it just takes it like, oh man, now this is a lot. Or it's like an assessment. This is gonna take me 20 minutes to do the assessment, depending on, there's a lot of assessment. But if it's like question by question, thing by thing, micro commitments, it makes a whole difference.
Yeah, you've probably seen Typeform. It's a company.
Yes, 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 yes.
They make really pretty forms, right? And usually it's just one question, and it just looks really nice and clean, and then they send you to the next one. And I mean, it's very effective. They've built their whole company around it.
It is micro commitments, and I get to see a lot of people that are using it right before, depending on what you're selling, right before a Canly link, or it's interesting. There's a lot of different things behind that. But coming back to the review platform and what you guys have built and what you guys are solving, can you take us also back to what does this do for businesses that commit and take the time to understand how to have better reviews for their company?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So I hate to say this, but most website owners don't understand or don't completely leverage the total power that they could leverage if they understood ratings and reviews on a deeper level. And so what happens is there's actually over 100 different review platforms online, but only 12 of them have the proper partnerships in place to actually leverage reviews on Google, on Bing, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Walmart.com. So there's very strategic locations where you want your reviews to display, but if you don't go with a company that actually has the partnerships to do that, then what we call that internally is they're an island. So because they're not connecting to anything, right? You can add reviews to your website, but if nobody ever gets to your website, they don't ever see them. So what we do, and you talked about strategy a little bit earlier, what we do at Shopper Approved is the question we're constantly asking ourselves is, how can we collect as many ratings and reviews as possible and then send them out into the internet and make them as visible as possible in as many places as possible. Most business owners don't think that way. They think, oh, I just need reviews. I need to go get reviews on my website. But then because they don't understand how to leverage that, they just become an island. The reviews just show up on their site.
Now, talking about that, let's say it's a service-based company that is always excited to get reviews on Yelp or get reviews on Google, because that's like service-based company, local. Let's get our reviews on Yelp, and then that's a whole different conversation on Yelp. But
Right.
then, and then we have Google reviews, and this business owner is well, like every person that comes into the business, hey, can you write a review? Can you write a review? How is your software better than that process of like
Okay.
manually asking them, hey, write a review on Yelp, write a review on Google? Because a lot of businesses would do that. It's like, hey, can you please write us a review, please, really quick?
Right. Okay. So there's two different markets that we cater to. One is local businesses and one is e-commerce. So Shopper Approved is focused on e-commerce, and then we have another company called Local Reviews that focuses on the service side. So it's a great idea for a local business to ask their customers to leave a review on either Yelp or Google Business, right? There are some other places that they can ask for reviews, and we're not the only company that does this on the local side, but there are several different local review companies that you can go with where you get an app. And so what you do is you send a text message or you send an email to your client after they buy and say, hey, leave a review on one of these locations. And so over time, if you ask enough people to leave you a review across those multiple locations, then essentially what you're doing is you're managing your reputation across the web. You're standardizing your reputation online over multiple assets. So that's actually a really good strategy. And most local businesses should adopt that. The problem is they don't. They usually only send their reviews to one place.
Correct.
And if you're going to only send them to one place, send them to Google Business for
Got
sure.
you. 100%. Okay. Okay. So I'm glad that you said two different point of this. There's local and then there's the online for e-com stores. We'll talk more
Mhm.
about these two. But just for the local side, because there's a lot of big service industries that would do this Google stuff. But your platform, you're saying that will manage all the reviews and
Mhm.
put them on all platforms. There's Scott, I don't remember this website, but what's the difference between this reputation management website? I think it's called the Yext, for example.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Tell us if it's possible, if you could tell us the difference between a platform like Yext and your software.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. So Yext is what they do is they go out and update your information across different online directories. So there's online directories similar to like when you go and do a search on your phone for a restaurant. Typically what will come up if you use Yelp, for example, Yelp will give you different like directions. They'll give you like the directions to the restaurant. They'll show you ratings for that restaurant. They'll show you the hours of operation. They'll show you the menu. A lot of that is directory driven. And so what Yext does is they say, okay, as a business owner, what's your address? What hours are you open? What's your URL? And then they send that information across all the different directories so that it's all the same online, no matter where you look. So what we do is we power the reviews that they use to send out to those different places, essentially.
Okay,
So
so
we drive the review side, they drive the
directories.
business information side.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Could the software help them out with making it much easier for the process of uploading reviews for their customers, right?
Yeah, we don't do a lot with Yext because they have their own type of review system, but
Yeah.
even they don't understand the strategy behind reviews.
Exactly. And that's why, Scott, we're talking about today to you, because if you can show the audience, the people that are listening and watching, the book, please. The title of the book is called Reputation King, the most trusted online brand. And we're speaking with the author that wrote the book, but also, been in the weeds of reviews. Now, we talked about local side of things, and thank you for sharing the difference between Yext and that, because trust me, man, Scott, man, I talked to a lot of people and they don't know what's Yext and what's this, and they get confused. So thank you so much for doing
Right.
that. Now, I want to move on to the side of like online reviews for e-com side of things. E-com could be, because I have a different kind of people that I'm talking to here. I have coaches and consultants. I have agency owners. I have people that have online shops. We have a lot of different points. People that sell courses. Your platform, how could they help? How could your platform help them with their online reputation reviews?
Gotcha. So yeah, if you sell anything on the internet, whether it's a service or a product, you can collect what are called seller ratings. So let me back up. There's 3 different types of reviews you can collect online. One is called seller ratings or company reviews, right? One is called product reviews, and that's about like a physical product, like a phone, right? And then one is video reviews. So you can collect all 3 of those different types of reviews online, and you can leverage them in different ways. Now, for like a service-based company, mostly you collect seller ratings, which are the company reviews, and you can leverage those in, and we have a strategy guide where we actually talk about this, but you can leverage seller ratings.
What is it called, Scott, the strategy guide that you guys have?
35 ways to amplify your reputation online.
And how could people get that?
So actually, we're going to give it to them. We're going to give all of your listeners the strategy guide and the book for free.
That's awesome.
At the end of the
Okay, awesome. So you don't know, you have to listen to the whole podcast so that you can get the link. So let's go.
So there's 14 ways you can leverage seller ratings online.
This is awesome, man. 14 ways, man. 14
and
different.
There's 10 ways you can leverage product reviews.
Oh my God, this is so good.
There's 5 ways you can leverage video reviews. And we haven't even talked about Q&A, like AI powered Q&A. This is like game changing.
Oh God.
And then reputation management, which is actually, so you know how we talked about how you can send reviews to Yelp, to Google Business, other places for local businesses? We can do the same thing for e-commerce. So you can actually send reviews to Trustpilot, SiteJabber, Reviews.io, reseller ratings, the Better Business Bureau. You can do that with e-commerce websites as well.
Really? That's legit, dude. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Now, you talked about just Trustpilot. You know, Trustpilot has its own pros and cons, but you know, when I spoke to your team and they told me more about the details, the difference between Trustpilot and you guys, because a lot of online e-com stores or people that are selling courses, products online are using, I see usually Trustpilot.
Right.
But when I spoke to you guys, I feel like you guys are the secret weapon that not a lot of people know yet, but a lot of people will know you guys. I promise you, in a few months, most likely. I can't wait of the new projects that are happening with you guys. But can you please tell us the difference between you guys and Trustpilot?
Yes, I can. Let me go hit my light here because it turned off.
Go for it. Go for it. No worries. No worries. Go for it. Guys, if you guys are listening to this podcast, I mean, Scott is just awesome to have a conversation with you, man. It's really cool to get to know more about just reviews. I mean, just like we're getting into the world of niching down into different softwares, but this is so cool talking about this topic because I feel like it is not leveraged at all.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of people miss out on what it can really do. So the difference between us and Trustpilot is we are Shopper Approved as a verified review platform, meaning we only display reviews that are collected by actual customers.
Can you say that one more time? That's so good.
We only collect reviews that are collected by actual paying customers, whereas Trustpilot collects reviews from anyone. So the benefit of that is that because we're only collecting reviews from real customers, the ratings that we display are more accurate, right? Because if anyone can go leave a review about your company, even if they didn't buy from you, you can manipulate it. And here's the crazy part is we've done research, and what we've found over looking at 10 major brands across America, we looked at 21,000 reviews that were collected on Trustpilot. And what we found is for every one positive review that somebody leaves on Trustpilot, 10 people go and leave a bad review.
Wow.
So, and that's just happening naturally. That's human nature. So across the web, at any given time, if you're not actively going and getting your clients to leave reviews on these open review platforms, what's happening is your reputation is just taking a nosedive. And there's nothing you can do about it because that's just happening. That's just people out in the wild going online, and maybe they had a bad experience with your company, so they're going out and trying to find somewhere to complain. So they find Trustpilot. For every one person that's happy, 10 people are going and disparaging your brand.
Wow.
And so if you, like, for example, if you go to Trustpilot and you search Nike.com, right? Everyone loves Nike. Well, guess what? They have a 1.7 star rating on Trustpilot. That's bullcrap. We know that's
Wow.
not real.
Wow.
But what's happened is because it's just random people going there, the unhappy people are the ones that go out of their way to leave a review. Now, on the other side, what we've also found is if you actively invite all of your customers to leave a review, 20 happy people will leave a review for every one unhappy customer.
Wow.
So it's completely the opposite side of the spectrum. And so what happens is good companies can look like they're a horrible company if they don't do anything to actively manage their reputation on these open review platforms. So
Well,
that's the difference between a verified review platform and an open review platform like Trustpilot.
that's awesome, man. Thank you so much for going into details about that, because I feel like, just people need to understand the difference into what solutions are out there. Now, taking someone that has reviews and wants to start to kind of get more reviews for themselves, what strategies that you would do to engage, like get more reviews, first of all, to get more reviews
Mhm.
and get customer feedback? What are the strategies that you would say today that would be helpful for ecom, local, overall?
Okay. So on the ecom side first, basically what I would say is find a review company that has a two-step review process. And there are a couple others besides us that do it, but collecting that initial survey is super important. Like I said before, it creates that hook, right? And it makes it more likely for them to complete the full survey. So you end up collecting more reviews overall. And then
Right.
I would also recommend that you collect all three types of reviews. You collect the seller ratings or the company reviews, you collect product reviews, and you collect video reviews. Now, what we do on the Shopper Approved side is we've built in a survey process that collects all three at the same time. So you don't have to like bombard your clients to try to collect all three different types of reviews. And that's all part of our full survey that they get once they receive their product. But the reason why you want to collect all three types of reviews is because we can syndicate them to different places, right? Like we talked in the strategy guide. You can send those to multiple locations, and what that does is it just blows up your online presence. And if you don't show up in search, you don't exist, right? People don't realize just how much they can impact search through ratings and reviews, right? Because like take video reviews, for example. If I'm collecting video reviews from my client, I can syndicate those to YouTube. Google owns YouTube. Google spiders YouTube. They pull your reviews into Google. Now my videos are on YouTube and they're in Google search. And Google has a tab called videos, right? So you show up on the video tab in Google, you show up in organic search in Google, you show up in organic search in YouTube. That's just on the video side. Plus, every time somebody watches one of your clients talking about how good your company and your product is, that's a personal endorsement. That's way more powerful than written text. But if you're not collecting video reviews, you don't get any of that. You just totally miss out on that opportunity. And they're not as, I mean, they're rare. Like it's harder to collect a video review, but you can incentivize video reviews where you can't incentivize seller ratings and product reviews. So
Interesting.
because you can incentivize them, you can collect more of them. I mean, like there's just things like that that people don't know, right?
No,
So
a lot of people. Yeah.
so those are the two things I'd recommend on the e-commerce side, right? Find a company that does the initial and the full survey and then collect all three types of reviews so that you can leverage them. And then on the local side, find a local review company that ties into your point of sale system. Now, the reason why you want to do that is because you can find a local review service that just lets you send a text or an email manually, like through an app.
Mm.
But that means every time somebody buys from you, you have to do that manually. You have to type in their phone number and send the request. But if you if it integrates into your point of sale, then it automatically does it every time somebody swipes their credit card when they're going through your restaurant, or buying anything from you, like on Stripe or Square or Clover, right? Whatever your point of sale system is, find a review platform that just ties right in, so it automatically sends the email or the text.
And
That
your
way you're going to maximize the number of reviews you collect.
And your software could do that and connect. I mean, how do people like connect this? Because a lot of people like, how do we automate this stuff? How does someone automate this stuff where someone transacts, purchase something, and that's a seller's review? Like, can you talk more about the automation and setting up something like this? How long does it take? What does it look like?
Yeah, so a lot of point of sale systems have marketplaces now. So you can go look into that marketplace and see if there's any local review type businesses that have an app. And if they do, you can just add that app to your point of sale system, and then you can start collecting reviews that way.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
And that's on the local side. How about the e-com side?
On the e-commerce side, there's only 3 companies that have something similar. We're one of them. We actually pioneered the technology. We call it review destinations.
Okay.
But yeah, so we have a product that actually does that, and it's built into the whole survey process, allowing you to optimize the process. So what we basically allow you to do is send a percentage of your clients to these other sites. So say you want to collect more reviews on Trustpilot, for example, right?
Yep.
So what Review Destinations allows you to do is say, okay, I'm going to send 80% of my customers through the shopper approved survey process, and I'm going to redirect 20% to go leave a review on Trustpilot. So over time, my Trustpilot score is going to go from a 1.6 to a 4.5, and my shopper approved rating is already a 4.5. So now when consumers search online and they try to triangulate my reputation, now it's going to be consistent online, right? Because otherwise, if they go to a search for, bluewidgets.com or whatever my website is, and they see that I have a 1.6 on Trustpilot and a 4.7 on Shopper Approved, now there's cognitive dissonance. They're like, oh, what's real? Right? So anyway.
That's interesting. That's interesting. And thank you so much for sharing the 2 examples, man, because a lot of people don't fully understand how it works. Now, when is the right time? I don't know if you have statistics based on when is the right time to onboard a company like yours and invest into reviews, because it adds up with all the other platforms, Trustpilot, this, that. It all adds up in budget. When do you think it's the right time to invest in something like this for an entrepreneur, a founder that has a team, wherever they're at? I would love to know your perspective on it, because when is the right time to actually get something like this on board and invest in something like this on a monthly basis?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would say if you're doing less than $1 million a year, you probably want to start out with just seller ratings and product reviews. And you're not going to collect a ton of product reviews initially because you got to build up to it, right? But you can start collecting a lot of seller ratings because of the way the 2-step review process works. And what that will do is and then those will start to show up in Google. So you can start to build your reputation. And then one of the other cool things about seller ratings is you can use them to show up on product pages that don't have enough product reviews yet. So it's almost like you can use them as a temporary surrogate until you've collected enough product reviews, and then that goes away.
Okay.
So that's, if you're doing less than $1 million, that's what I would suggest.
Okay.
And that's pretty inexpensive. It's probably less than $200 a month to start that. And then as you grow, then you can add some of these additional features like, video reviews and the review destinations, and then the Q&A, which I didn't really talk about, our the Q&A engine that we have.
Okay.
And other things like that to what's the word? Speed up the process or accelerate the process over time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you. That's awesome, man. Thank you so much, man. This is a lot of good stuff. I mean, everyone is trying to understand this review stuff. And it gets complicated with all these platforms. And you are simplifying it for us to understand exactly when to choose it, how to choose it, what are the things to think about, because no one really knows about seller rating. Like, what is seller rating?
Right.
And what is the product review? And what is exactly the in all these different things? Is like no one thinks about that. People are thinking of cash flow.
Right.
It's like, when is the cash flow? But these little things could bring in better clients, could bring in better conversion for your e-com store or for your consulting practice or your local business.
Right.
These
I'll
things-
share one more tip real quick.
Yes, please.
So, well, another reason why you want to collect seller ratings and product reviews at the same time is because in Google Shopping, they will display both your seller ratings and your product reviews on your Google Shopping listing at the same time, if you have them and if they're syndicated through a Google partner. So that gives you a huge competitive advantage when somebody's shopping online and they go to Google Shopping. Because who are you going to buy from? You're going to buy from a listing that doesn't have any reviews, or a listing that maybe has only product reviews, or are you going to go to the one that's got seller ratings and product reviews in the same listing? It's strategy, right?
It is
And
a lot of strategy.
it's leveraging those reviews in as many places as you can.
That's awesome, man. Based on this, I mean, dude, you give us a lot of different pointers around strategy. I can see that you love the strategy side of things. Based on this topic, is there anything as we navigate to other conversations here in a second? Is there anything that you want to talk about reviews that you haven't talked about that's really important for the audience to hear out from your side?
Well, they really help with getting more traffic and SEO on the search side. And that's really important. If you understand that Google loves user-generated content, they will put it first. They will make an effort to highlight or display it. Anytime that you can leverage user-generated content in Google, it will get more traction and more visibility.
Okay.
So that's why reviews are another reason why reviews are super important. But you can also leverage rating reviews on your website to increase your conversion. So ratings and reviews improve your search engine optimization, and they improve your conversion rate on your site, because now you can leverage them as social proof on your website. So we play in the middle of two worlds, and it's super fun because we impact both sides at the same time. And there's very few companies that can do that.
Wow.
We get to play in both worlds, and you can
That's
leverage
awesome.
that if you know how.
100%, man. And how is the onboarding? How does someone like find you guys, and how does the onboarding work?
So we usually have we have a team here in the office, and they will do a demo. So you can ask any questions, resolve any concerns, and you can see how it works in real time.
That's awesome. So you guys actually can a real person would come on Zoom with you or online and take you throughout the process and show you the product.
Right. Yep. And it's
Awesome.
very consultative. Like, we don't like hard sales. It's just not who we are.
Awesome.
As you can tell, like in this conversation, like I love to share. I want to educate people, and so does my team. And so we'll do anything we can to help you be successful, even if you don't ever use our product, right?
That's
Because
awesome.
it's karma, right? Everything comes
100%.
around. So
Exactly. 100%, man. And I want to know that I think there's something that I saw on your website that is where you guys are giving back. I'm not quite sure if you're still, where is that? I saw it on your website just a second ago, where there's these kids that you guys are helping, a community of kids. Can you tell us more about that?
yeah, so that's in partnership with Stu McLaren. I don't know if you know who that is, but he runs an organization called Tribe, where he teaches companies how to build successful communities. And he's an awesome guy. But anyway, so he created that organization that to actually help build schools in third world countries, and they focused in Kenya. And so I've known Stu for years, and we were one of the first companies that actually got on board with building these schools in Kenya to help kids get an education. And it's been super fun. I've actually been there twice. We've gone there twice to meet the communities and the kids and see the schools that we've built together, and it's been super fun. And then we also help another organization in Guatemala where we help to build facilities for volunteers to come and help at orphanages. And I've been there a couple times too, and it's just so cool to be able to help, little kids have a chance at life and get an education. And so yeah, we still help there and support those causes.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for being an entrepreneur. It's not an easy route. It's not an easy road, but thank you for doing and being one of the leaders out there amongst other leaders that's giving back. So that's awesome, man. I love when I get to hear that. That's really cool. That is so cool, man. So, talking about different things about reviews and talking about the different local side of things and e-com and consulting, I have an interesting question for you.
Sure.
How does someone find good people, like good programmers and good talent?
Mm.
How does that is that luck, would you say? Is it like, is it a referral? Like, I'm looking for this person. How do you find good people in the beginning on beginning stages of business?
Oh man, I don't know if there's an easy answer for that question.
I know.
And
It's just,
a lot
I'm
of
just
it's
curious.
a lot of it's just luck. A lot of it's trial and error. We're really picky about who we hire because we want them to be a good culture fit. So we'll actually send them through multiple rounds of interviews and questions before we choose to hire somebody. And that's helped a lot. But I think a lot of times it's just luck. It's just luck and timing. And because when you find the right person, it's like magic happens. And it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it can change the game.
100%, man. 100%. That's awesome, man. Now, talking about, thank you for sharing that and being very honest with it because it's not easy to find good people.
Yeah.
Now, talking about, this is something that I'm like really curious about. Working with family, man. I have some family back in the Middle East, and I'm thinking of like doing something with family. But talking about working with your dad and all this other stuff, how does someone like really put boundaries and puts responsibilities on what's right, what's not right? Like, because you experienced it and you kind of like bought your dad out. I want to know, like, what is the pros and cons in getting into a relationship like that based on your experience?
So that's actually a great question because I actually hire multiple family members still. And the way that I get around any problems is I actually don't hire them directly. So I'll give them a chance. I'll open the door and I'll say, "Okay, I'll get you an interview with so and so who's over this department, but you work for them and they have full control over if you stay." And so then it's not me that's directly like if they don't do a good job, I'm not firing them, right? So they can't come back and say I'm a bad, cousin or brother or whatever because it's on them. I give their manager full control over if they stay or go.
That is so good. I
Yeah.
love that. That is such a good tip, man. Okay,
It's
so that's
worked out. It's worked out amazing.
I love that. That's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
what if it's like in the beginning stages? Like you don't have those, little positions that you could take. What do you do if it's like in the beginning stages and you want to start a company with a family?
Oh, see, that's trickier because I think eventually part of it, what you should do is actually, if you're going to bring somebody on, you should have milestones in their agreement so that when they hit certain milestones, then they get, like if you're going to give out ownership or stock, they almost vest that stock over time. So they earn it. That way, if they suck, then you can let them go early and it's not on you. And then you don't have to figure out, oh crap, I gave them 50% of my company. Now I'm stuck, right? So
What if they invested with you?
then you're stuck. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know how to get out of that
Okay,
one.
good. Because like there's sweat equity, there's investment where you got the person that's gonna do the work, and there's a few people that are
Yeah.
gonna be the drivers, right? Me and
Yep.
there's also a few people that are gonna drive the company. And the
Right.
people that are gonna drive the company, they have to be more motivated than just making money. Money's gonna get you so many places, yes. but motivation is not going to last.
Right. Yep.
It's not. So it's interesting. Thank you so much for being honest with that question. I was really interested in knowing that.
Sure.
Scott, where can people find you, man? Where are you hanging out online? You know, how can people find you? And then we could talk about more about your lead magnet and how they could get that little gift, bonuses with the strategies after that too.
Sure, sure. So we just started a podcast. It's called the E-commerce Traffic and Conversion Podcast. So you can find that online. And then we're just launching Reputation King on April 18th with Dr. Cialdini, who wrote the book Influence. He sold over 5 million copies of this.
Scott, 1 second. What did you just say, Matt? You're gonna go where?
We're doing a launch. We're launching this book with Dr. Cialdini, who wrote this book, on April 18th.
Dude, that's amazing. If people are listening to this, I mean, if you don't know Robert Cialdini, the guy that talks about influence and persuasion, you and him are going to partner up together?
Yeah.
Dude, that's sick. That is so sick.
Not only that, not are we launching the book, but we're a course on the Cialdini Institute about reputation management.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude, that is so sick. I mean, you did a partner, that's a joint venture, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. That is so cool. Congratulations, man. You know, just for the people that don't know Robert, I mean, he's a legend in influence and persuasion. And you, Scott, and the company partnering up with this guy, I mean, there's no, like, that's awesome, dude. And where can people find and get these goodies?
Okay. So, yeah. So like we said before, so I'm actually going to give you, because you listened to me talk for an hour, I'm going to give you the digital copy of Reputation King before it's released and the strategy guide, the digital versions, for free. Just go to reputationking.com/Hassan, HASSAN. And so you're going to get those compliments of Hassan. He's going to give them to you, but they're
That's
free.
awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, man. Everyone, go back to that link. Get your reputation toolkits and resources so that you understand if it's not now, it's never going to happen. So get to educate yourself, get to understand what does it look like so that you could, if it's not the right time, at least you know, and you could then, even if you don't have time, you could get it and then give it to your talent, give it to the right people, give it to your assistant, give it to your VA, give it to someone in the company so that at some point they could remind you to put this system a part of your sales strategy, a part of your marketing strategy. I just think it's going to be awesome to have that and add that as an add-on to your business journey.
Yeah, and they also get the audio book, the streaming audio version for free with that link too.
What else do you want, man? Come on. Go. So good.
I'm trying.
Oh, man, it's so good. Okay. Scott, thank you so much for your time and generosity of information and resources and strategy. You guys know that Scott loves strategy. So you could see the love and the giving within this conversation was amazing. So thank you so much for your time, Scott. Yeah. Appreciate you, man. I can't wait to have you on again for different topics about reputation, about reviews, and I can't wait to see the launch with Robert and where it takes us.
Awesome. Thanks again, man.
Thank you. And that is show.
Sweet.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, dude. We went through a journey. Did you see what I'm trying to get out of you and why I'm getting out of this and why that? Because it's all storytelling. I'm trying to make this where I'm listening to all the customers and I'm just like pulling, like, this is exactly what they're thinking. This is exactly what they're thinking. And I'm trying to get the best out of whatever I can from this conversation. And that's what I was trying to do with this conversation. Any feedback from me?
No, I think you did really good. You kept me on my toes, which was fun.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think it was great.
Awesome.
It felt like it definitely felt like you were really thinking about the questions you were asking, you know, and it didn't feel like you were just going down a list, which I think will help keep people engaged in the conversation.
Exactly. That's what I realized. Sometimes I'm too prepared. And sometimes when I have curiosity and just uses my curiosity from my own experience, it becomes the best interview all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the storyboard at the same time. Yeah, man. Cool, man. Anything exciting coming up other than the launch?
I mean, we're just trying to get that course done for the Cialdini Institute. We got the green light this morning actually to start recording. So we're gonna be busting our butts for the next couple weeks to get that done. So
That's awesome, man. Now, you said Stu. What's his last name?
McLaren.
Is he the guy that about the membership?
He does memberships stuff. Yeah. He used to
Oh,
be one of the owners of Wishlist Member, which is a membership software.
so
You
he's
probably
in.
saw him. He speaks at all kinds of
No, I
conferences.
think I saw something on a court. Dude, is he knows Russell Brunson.
Yeah, they're buddies.
Man.
Yeah. In fact, Russell, and Stu went to Kenya together, and we went on on a safari and like rode around in the middle of Africa, just chilling out for 2 weeks.
Wow. And how do you
Yeah.
know Stu and Russell? How did that happen?
So I've actually known Russell forever, back when probably 12 to 13 years before he ever became the Russell that everyone knows now.
Wow.
Yeah. He was just trying, he would do like these little workshops in Boise, and he needed people to fill the room. So he would call me and Garrett, my old business partner, and he'd be like, "Hey, can you guys drive to Boise? I need to fill the space." And so we would go and just pretend like we were clients,
Wow.
basically.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am a part of the 2CCX program.
Cool.
Yeah. His 2CCX program. I don't know if you know about it. Do you know anything about it or no?
Well, I'm not in it just because I don't use ClickFunnels, but
I mean, ClickFunnels is the software is not the best, but the connections and relationships are really good.
yeah, no, totally. And I love Russell, and I think he's doing an awesome job. Yeah, back in the day, he was a churn and burn guy. He would do info products, and he'd do this big hype launch, and then he would sell a bunch of them, and then it would die off, and then he would do another one, right? So he'd be like boom, boom, boom. And meanwhile, I was like in the background doing software, and several times I would talk to Russell. I'd be like, "Dude, build freaking software and charge him over and over again over time." And eventually he got it. So
Yeah, man. I mean,
ClickFunnels.
I remember that he was a part of a lot of the masterminds, and stories would come out like with ClickFunnels would not work, and what made it work was a joint venture,
Mm,
basically. Very
yeah.
interesting. And Stu, are you still friends with Stu?
Yeah.
Okay, got you. And he teaches a lot about membership and stuff, right?
Yeah. His thing is called Tribe.
Interesting. I'm learning more about that, by the way, to create my own community. And that's where I'm like learning from Stu a little bit, because Stu is a little bit in Russell's program.
Yeah.
That's where now I know Stu, because I was like,
Yeah.
is it
Stu speaks at Russell's things.
interesting, man? That's really cool, man. It's a small fucking world. Me getting
Yeah.
to realize shit. Damn. That's funny. That's funny, man. And do you go to Kenya a lot?
Go where? Oh,
You-
Kenya?
Yeah.
I've been a couple times. Stu and Russell and I have talked about like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro together, but we haven't done it yet. Hopefully we will one of these days, but
Well, let me know. I would love to experience that.
all right.
Awesome, man. Cool. Thank you, man, for being on the podcast. And once this is edited and streamed, we will let you know and give you also the assets for the edits and stuff.
Sweet. And then that page should actually be live.
Okay.
Reputationking.com/Hassan.
Okay.
If you
I'll
go
let
there, it should.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that. I'm gonna tell my team to really focus on putting that link for everyone, and we'll send it out to the email list for everyone to have that. And I can't wait to share it. This is gonna be a great evergreen podcast.
Awesome.
If you listen to the conversation, it's an evergreen conversation, by the way.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, man. It was awesome.
Absolutely, man. I'm traveling in the next couple months. I'll be traveling to Boise, Idaho. Actually, I'll be in Boise for 2 days, and I'm traveling to San Diego, then Vegas. I have a keynote that I'm doing in Vegas, and then Saudi. I'll be back in May. But let's be connected. I know that there's a few people that I need to connect you with. I'm not quite sure if you had a conversation with Commerce Pundit with Hiren yet, but
I haven't had one since the initial one. I had an initial conversation. I need to probably come back around and have another one.
absolutely, man.
It was good. It was positive. So
I want you guys to connect, man. I connected someone in my network that is so funny, man. This guy basically works for the company, not works for the company, is using their, it's a payroll system. And he's using the payroll system. And the owner doesn't know this person, but
Mm.
he's using this person. I have a conversation with this guy. It's like, you've been working with them for how many years and you never spoke to the person yet? Mind boggling, right? Anyways,
Mhm.
I connect them. They're about to do a 6-figure deal, joint venture together.
Nice.
So it's like, I'm telling you, man, this world is getting smaller and smaller.
Well, I appreciate, your help, and, hopefully we can continue to do some stuff together.
Yes, yes. 100%, man. 100%. Other than that, I'll let you know about the edits and all that stuff, and we'll connect soon.
Okay. Thanks, man.
You too.
And that brings us to a close of another episode on the Hassan Bash Show. Thank you for dedicating time to your growth and progress with us today. Each episode is a step toward not just reaching, but exceeding your potential. To ensure you never miss out on another episode or these insights, subscribe to the podcast. For a deeper dive and exclusive content that furthers your journey, sign up for our newsletter at hassanbash.com. That's HASSANBASH.com. And for a continuous flow of inspiration, make sure to follow us across our socials. Your support through sharing our podcast can inspire and empower others in their journey of progress. So let's build a community of growth together. Until our paths cross again, remember, every day is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and move forward. Stay curious, stay inspired, and above all, keep progressing. I'm Hassan signing off. Here's to your journey of endless growth.